Hello, I'm Rachel Newborn, and this is my final project for usability testing for technical communicators. So for this project, I tested the website of Beacon Press, and last week I tested 3 participants in moderated sessions, and this week I tested 3 in unmoderated sessions, and I found a number of really usable aspects of beacon.org that I wanted to share with you. So the first one was that most users had a great sense of what Beacon Press did and who they were, just from being on the website, what the values are, what they stood for. Another aspect that was working well is that educator resources, so finding teacher guides and other information for teachers here, was really easy and was very intuitive, so that worked well. The last thing was placing books. If a consumer comes to Beacon Press and wants to purchase this book, placing it into their cart and proceeding with the checkout was really easy and worked well. So for this week's unmoderated session, I modified my original test to cater more towards 2 of Beacon's core user groups. And I did this just to try to target the behavior a little bit more specifically to users that I thought made sense for Beacon Press. So that I changed some of the language around to cater more towards marketing folks and publicists, as well as librarians and educators. And by going through the test and observing some of the usability issues, I was able to identify 3 areas for improvement that I'd like to talk to you about today. So the first one is the search bar. And the search bar is located up here in the upper right-hand corner. And this is generally a good place for a search bar, but because of its proximity to the subscribe to mailing list field, oftentimes users were typing in their search here in the subscribe to mailing list, and then they were being greeted by this this form that they were not expecting at all. And this was very confusing for them, and often this stopped them from searching for anything else again. So modifying this so that the subscribe to our mailing list section is way at the bottom of the page and that the search bar is a lot bigger could really help. The second thing that I found was that there were many pages within the About menu that didn't seem like they really belonged there. And one in particular was submission guides. So I found that many people weren't going into the About at the global navigation menu, and instead were going all the way down to the footer where they knew they could find a list of all of this content and just kind of scanning it quickly to search for the term submission. And when they found it, they were able to get to the page through the footer. But it's very telling when users are doing that, because it really signifies that there's an information architecture issue. The last thing that I just wanted to talk about was the sorting feature on certain browsers. So one thing that I noticed, if I wanted to do a search for books about food, and I search for this, I'm using the Firefox browser, I have my selections here, and I want to sort it by price from low to high. And I'm able to find the cheapest book that's offered. And I click on here, A Dream of Summer, and I use the back button. Now you'll notice that all of my searching is refreshed to the default setting. And even though it says sort by price, low to high, this isn't actually sorted by low to high. You can see that Food Rebels, this title is much more expensive than my original search. So that was very frustrating for a lot of people who wanted to be able to sort a long list of books, and it was very confusing and they felt a little bit stuck. So just to recap, making sure that the search bar is really prominent and that it works for folks. Even adding some placeholder text to encourage searching. So search by topic, search by title, things that make the user feel that this is going to yield some positive results to be able to use the search function. It would be great. Also, not dumping miscellaneous info into the About menu just because you're not exactly sure where to put it. That would also help really organizing things logically. And lastly, really giving users some visual feedback about their search and their sorting, and to make sure that there's no development issues with searches refreshing with certain browsers. So I think these changes will yield a more intuitive website for some of Beacon Press's most important user groups. Thank you.